services, the homeless have to have a way to get there. Thank you.
Anything else, ma'am?
Not from us. I don't know if anybody else wants to comment. I did say questions. I apologize.
Or comment?
Let me give you my little,
Alan?
I understand, I took all the money, and I provided all the housing, you can house wages. Can't hear you. There must be, you have enough money to accumulate, to house everybody. That's not an end result. You've got to get them to be productive citizens. Somehow, there has to be a methodology that's incorporated into this gathering that has an end result that puts them back out. Productive. You give them a house. If they can't take care of it, it doesn't matter. So I would like to see an element where you make them productive citizens. That's what I want to see. That's what my community wants to see. Thank you.
I just want to make a comment, I'm sorry, on that part. That's why that case management piece that they mentioned is critical. That's what we're doing with Salvation Army with the outreach. Mike Cornell's in the back of the room, is that case management. And I guess I would cap it and underline it, an exclamation point after it, that to be successful and do the intent of Housing First is you have to have the case management to help them make that transition to self-sufficiency. It's a critical piece. I agree completely, Helen.
Require training.
It's bringing all the other pieces together, but it's having case management that knows how to actually provide that to them.
It's a trainable skill.
Councilmember Cusack?
Thank you so much. I enjoyed so much of the report. And we have to be mindful of the fact that we will not be able to save every person that's homeless. Some people will be homeless by choice. But there are many people who are victims of circumstances and they're in a position that they need our help. Now, case management is the key, as Panther said. And with case management, it's a wraparound services. So therefore, hopefully with good, productive case management, when someone begins to slip off the slope, if you will, there's someone there that will help them back on track. Case management can also include neighbor to neighbor. And you're familiar with this when it comes to substance abuse, that you have a partner or a mentor. I think this is the same thing that we could incorporate in our case management piece. So it behooves us to look at this in the as a total package and understand if we say half, I'm pretty aggressive, I'll say even 3/4 of those folks. We are doing our due diligence as elected officials and as good stewards of tax dollars to do that. But to think that we can save everyone and go in with the mentality that we are going to, then I think that we are on the wrong track. But if we go in with the understanding that we as individuals and as elected bodies will be part of this wraparound neighbor to neighbor and can look at and keep people, help people stay on track, then we will have profit. And every dime spent will be money well spent in that. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair.
If I could just add to that, there's two local studies, and there's more detail behind this, but I'll mention in Central Florida in 2014, the Commission on Homelessness did a study, and they found that it costs 3 times less to place someone in permanent housing as opposed to leaving them on the street in public costs. So if there's no other reason that you may want to consider doing something differently, there is a financial incentive. About 8 or 10 years ago, when I was with Serenity House, we did a study and we took 35 of what we call frequent flyers, the people who used up the most of our publicly funded resources, law enforcement, criminal justice, publicly funded hospital care, etc. And we had a baseline of them, for them over the course of 2 years. And then we placed them in permanent housing with that wraparound case management. And then we tracked them for 2 years while they were in that permanent housing to determine how many of those same costs they were using. And across the board, the reduction in costs was 90%. So one more example of there's some economics to this that make real sense. And as Chief Chitwood reminded us, is if you take care of those people in need, we will take care of those people who are exploiting the individuals in need, and it'll make our job a lot easier. So we recognize that not everyone who's homeless is equally in need or of services, and we can help with the right strategy sort out the people who can benefit the greatest from the people who may not have the same motivation to help themselves. To your point.
Thank you. No other comments on that? I think the case management is very essential because that's the only sure way you can track the measurable results of the program. That way you know how effective, just exactly how effective it is. And it goes without saying, you have to have the case management. And you can do, what Alan has said, it puts you in a situation of putting people back to be contributing members of the society. And wow, it's such a big undertaking, but we can do it. I'm looking forward to seeing that bottom on the headlines. Maybe if our good friend Mr. Patrick Rice is here, maybe he can see that and maybe copy it. I'm not sure he is here, but I'm just kidding. I knew someone was writing, but hopefully she can see that is the end goal of what we're trying to focus on. I think what you've done, Pam, again this last year of your work on this is it deserves an applause of doing it. And when we started this a little over a year ago, if this is something that comes out of it, it's been very worthwhile of having us all working together for the common good of all of us. With that, we'll move to the issue on Transportation Committee. You have a report on that, John?
No, Mr. Chairman, but I did want to ask one question.
Sure.
We needed some direction prior to calling the meeting because, we had worked on the half-cent sales tax. I got the current figures on what that would produce, around $39 million for our county this fiscal year. And I didn't know whether you wanted us to go back over the old habits or do you want us to look at a new alternative? The funding still seems to be the need in every city. County funding, we've got the Sunrail issue, the additional funding for our extension to the land, and also the 5 years from now, the funding that is going to be mandated for the county. So if you want us to pursue that as additional revenue, or do you want us to get into the area of the needs of transportation needs in our county, which every city's got their needs, plus the county overall?
Well, I think that was the focus of it, was to determine the needs, then to determine
Needs and then how to fund it.
how to fund it.
All right, I'll schedule a meeting prior to our next meeting then. So
And then you can if you can schedule that, that'd be great. And we'll maybe we can have a report on at the next meeting.
Yes, sir.
And then we'll move on to water issues. And let's see, that was Alan Green.
Yeah, last Friday we had a meeting up in foreign country like the heads of Flagler about with the water board. So having gone through that, one of the things that St. John's and each of them are telling us, make sure you've got something in planning board, make sure you're ready, get your documents ready. There is funding out there to assist. Also, there's a meeting later in this room that has to do with water. I also met with an individual civil engineer about a methodology for alternative sewer septic tanks that we could institute and put close to water it meets the requirements, I will be bringing that data. I asked him if he would speak to us about there are other methodologies in the standard septic tank, not exactly what Oak Hill is using. They put him in debt and almost made him homeless, so, but there are other ways to do it, so I'll be bringing that forward, but that's where I stand.
Okay. And Mayor Jennings, I think you're,
No reports, sir, on Beach Drive. I'm anticipating your question.
I figured you probably knew that was coming to you eventually.
Thank you, sir.
Since we do have another meeting scheduled at 2:30, let's take about 10 minutes. If anyone has any comments from the public, if you'd like to come, we'll give you 3 minutes to provide some input. Big? Because we have been asked to clear so they can reset the room.
Big John on the Hill, to the wise men. Is this a public or a private corporation?
Private. Oops, sorry. Not for profit.
Will it be open in the sunshine?
My recommendation would be yes, it should be.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Jim?
Jim Cameron, Senior Vice President, Government Relations, Daytona Regional Chamber. Wanted to say thank you to a number of y'all that went with us and saw us work together in Tallahassee last month for Volusia Days, and some of the items on your water issues list and stuff. We met with a number of legislators up there, and hopefully we can get some movement on some of those water-related projects as it relates to flood control here in the Halifax area. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Yes.
My name is Thomas Redmond, and I'm a homeless advocate. And I have to say that I've never been more proud of Volusia County. I don't mean to exaggerate. I will say that 15 months ago, there was really a lack of services, a lack of attention. And regardless of how we got here today, we're here. And a lot of people are working really hard, and they really care. And instead, I can't even tell you how taken back I am at the change we've made. And I have to say to you, I know that this is going to get national attention. I don't think you understand from a homeless service point of view the difference in your community today and what it was a year ago. And I'd like to thank all the leadership that made this happen, and especially Ms. Woods, the 3 people that did the research. I can't tell you how proud I am, and I look forward to taking your successes to other communities. I'm going to Sarasota next and showing them just what you've done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. Anyone else? Sure.
Good afternoon. My name is Greg Gimbert. I wanted to ask you guys to consider House Bill 191, which recently passed with votes from our local legislative delegation, and ask you to consider reaching out to Senator Hupel to have her make some needed corrections on the Senate companion bill. If you go back and look at Sunday's newspaper, you'll see Fred Costello did a masterful job writing a letter about House Bill 191, talking about how it preempts the federal government from controlling when and where fracking goes on in the state of Florida. He painted it as our shield against federal interference. What was left out of the letter was that it's also a sword against local government determination. It prohibits any of you cities, or us as a county, from stopping fracking wholesale in Volusia County should we choose. It also prevents any of our cities or our county to set higher water quality levels in conjunction with fracking than what the state chooses. Now, I know many of you guys are used to me coming up going, we should get a vote, we should get a vote, we should get a vote. Good Lord, this is our water supply in a limestone aquifer environment. and they want to not only frack here, but prevent each of you cities and all of us as a county from setting our own standards of which they have to adhere to even be considered to frack, or whether we should do it at all. Please go back and read that Sunday letter to the editor from Fred Costello, and then go back and read House Bill 191 for yourself. You'll see that letter was by no means full disclosure, and it is taking away our local self-determination. Please reach out to Senator Huckel, ask her to strike the preemption aspect and make sure that whatever standards the feds and the state come up with pertaining to fracking, that we maintain our local right and privilege to set our own standards or even prohibit it wholesale. Thank you for your
Thank you,
consideration.
We have time for about one more question, Speaker. Thank you.
My name is Robert Labetti. I've lived in New York all my life. I came down here 2 years ago. I'm homeless. I lost my house. I lost my job. I went out of business, and I lost my house because I couldn't pay the mortgage. I'm down here for 2 years. There's a couple of things I like to ask. There's a bunch of homeless people over here are hungry, and you guys are eating right in front of them. I like to know why. How do you think these people, you know, they're hungry, and you're sitting there eating sandwiches, you got a sandwich right over there, you ain't touched it. I'd like to know why. Why haven't you touched the sandwich? There's people over here hungry. Did you get a check? Did any of you guys get a check for the meal you're eating now?
I appreciate your comments. If you need food, I'm sure there's any.
It's not that I need food.
It is.
I just want to know why you would do that in front of people that need food. You're sitting there and you're saying, where's all the money that's going into the $110,000 I seen on TV? And you're talking, we're talking about it. You're not talking about it. The money's on your meals over there. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you.
Can I be recognized?
She had waited.
Good afternoon. My name is Kathy Albowitz. I'm a Daytona Beach resident, and I've been a volunteer with Faith for the last 5 years working on the homelessness issues. And in listening to this presentation, there's so much good in it. Strategies to prevent homelessness, immediate housing when possible, service coordination, all of these things will go a long way towards dealing with the issue of homelessness in Volusia County. We will still, however, need the shelter piece. And the people at Faith have never said that Volusia Safe Harbor was the whole solution or the only solution, but it is a vital part of the mix. When we first started looking at the issue of homelessness in Volusia County, we found that certain segments of the homeless population were very well served by existing agencies. Families, veterans, people with diagnosis of mental illness, all had a way to get services. There weren't always enough, there was never enough money, but there were paths to services. The basic whole was shelter for single individuals. And that was the issue we started looking at. When we started looking at it, we found that one of the major reasons is that there's no funding stream for this group. And agencies, no matter how well-intentioned they are, cannot provide services without funds. The other issue that really drives it is siting issues for any kind of shelter. And the last one is that without a coordinated intake and assessment, like was spoken about, there's often no efficient way to get these folks hooked up with the services they need. And that once people have shelter, it is much easier for them to find their way back to being productive members of society. It's clear to us that basic shelter for single individuals was something that was needed then, and that it's unlikely that any community agency would have the resources to do this on their own, and therefore it would have to have a commitment from local governments. It's still clear that that's what's needed. Volusia Safe Harbor has never been portrayed as the solution to homelessness or as a permanent residents, but a way to funnel people into services through case management, healthcare services, and all of the other services that are needed. We remain committed to a 250-bed homeless assistance center. We think the center of the county is the best place for this because it avoids the siting issues, which would be very difficult anywhere else, and we would like to see an independent agency running it for all the reasons that were outlined before. Thank you.
Thank you very much. But one more comment, one more speaker.
Take the best for that. Mayor Kelly, I commend you for your comments in the News Journal saying that Volusia Safe Harbor is a pipe dream and the surrounding cities need to man up. You know, before I retired after a heart attack and a 6-way bypass, I was a director of marketing for a manufacturing company here in Volusia County, member of the VMA. And what we did when we were going to roll out a new product is we did research, market research. And that involves surveys and focus groups, okay? Show of hands, anybody here been homeless? I didn't think so. Oh, thank you, Jason Davis, who has experienced homelessness. And we've had a conversation about that. But, you know, here's the deal, guys, okay? You don't know what you're talking about until you've actually lived it. So where is the representative from the homeless community on these panels? Why don't you actually talk to the homeless? Mayor Bob Apgar was the only one that came up at the Orange City meeting and said, has anybody asked the homeless what they think? Commissioner Woods, you're busy demonizing the homeless, calling them drug addicts and prostitutes and everything else, and then on the other hand, you want to help them. So which is it? I don't think you can have a foot in both pastures. I really don't. You either have empathy or you don't. You just can't demonize the population. You got to end the criminalization of the homeless in Daytona Beach, and then you need to start making change. And the start is to fire the city manager, because a fish rots from the head down. These practices have got to stop, and that's what I'm calling for. He can graciously retire. We'll buy him a new set of luggage, but his time is done. God bless.
In our public comments, I think what you have seen today and what everyone in the audience has seen, and those of you that are here, is you've seen people volunteering to make a difference in our communities, to address the issue, to address it head on, to find a way and a means to fund it and to make it work, to put people back into being productive citizens. And we're going to bring that together. The headlines are going to be there. And we'll go with member comments. Jim, if you have any comments, we'll go around.
No comment?
No comment.
I'd just like to say, as being a member of the homeless subcommittee for well over a year now, that it was Pam Woods, Doug Daniels, Tom looked at myself, and I'm a layperson. I have to admit, I didn't know anything about homelessness until I joined the subcommittee. And the best thing that we did was bring on these 3 retired gentlemen here. And they volunteered graciously to educate myself and other members of the commission. And it's just that if we all come together and do a little bit of lifting, we can solve this problem. Because in the beginning of our subcommittee, I would go away thinking Safe Harbor is dead. There's no way this will come together. The community, the county is too fractured. It's an east against the west yet again. How do we overcome this? And when we brought these 3 experts in, and they may never have been homeless, but I know they've all provided social services to some people that were in dire straits. And they were able to save people's lives. And I think by listening to these 3 experts here, if we come together as Volusia County, the headline on the bottom will be true. So I just want to thank you 3 for all your hard work, and thank Daytona Beach for taking the leadership in this.
I take exception to comments about the city manager of Daytona. I think he followed the law. He did what was best for the community. He did what was best for the people he represented. And I take exception to that. Thank you.
I want to, I've also served on the subcommittee for the last year, and we really took off, I think, with a lot of the rhetoric that we talked about. We seemed to go around and around for a while until some people showed up that had background in this area. But, you know, Pastor Mike, when it's cold, it's cold. Cold is cold, hunger is hunger. And it touches your heart. And the question that you originally asked, Chet, was that why do we do this? We do it because it's the right thing. That's the answer. And we have to adopt that county-wide because it is the right thing. Whatever we have to do, we can sit at the table and argue for a while, but we'll eventually get to the point. We have to do that. So thank you very much, and especially you, good lady down there, Pam. You've done a wonderful job, and I hope you're still going to do some more. Because we're not there yet. Thank you.
I just want to, we're going to keep working it, and we're going to keep moving forward. And like I said, I do want to hear back from y'all in the next week or so, and we'll get that information to you. So thank you to committee members and these three. It actually, you know, getting to serve on the work group with them, it's been great. And they have challenged me in terms of, you know, us moving forward when we had the crisis, you know, to face in the city. So it's been really, really good. Thank you.
Some of the work product from the Central Florida Leadership Congress, I forwarded to Cindy Finney, and she will send it to all of the members of the round table. I will also give her the two editorials that I referred to, so everyone can take a look at those if they haven't seen them. Thank you.
Thank you. You're an honorary no. Okay, she passes.
Thank you for joining us, Joyce. Appreciate it. Once again. Yeah, I was just going there, Doug, and there's that. Mr. Daniels had to leave early. Thank you for joining us today. The county manager's here and all this. From the county level, we've heard loud and clear. We are continuing to work with it. We look forward to working with you guys, and we will take this, all the council members who are here, I'm sure we will take this under advisement. We will probably discuss it in a couple of weeks when we have our own council meeting. I will talk with the manager and see if there was somebody missing here, because I can't do your presentation for you, but you could. So if we need to redo that presentation in the chambers, maybe we'll see what we can do about getting that done up there. So good work, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. And other than that, once again, sorry for being late.
Right. Mayor G.
10 years ago, the mayors of Volusia County got together just like we're doing today. We went over the same identical thing, homeless. First of all, people's got to want to help themselves. One of you mentioned a while ago, identify. You've got to pick out the people that want to be helped. This man, the first one walked up here, he's got 2 good legs, 2 good arms, and a good mouth. He ought to be working somewhere.
Give him a job.
So, I mean, how are you going to help them kind of people if they don't want help? So we're all doing a good job. We're doing the best we can, and it's getting better all the time. Thank you.
Yeah, Mayor, I guess this question is Pam. Pam, the only thing that I'm still a little bit unclear of, I love the presentation. I think it's a possibility it could work. But how is that new nonprofit agency with the, as Chairman Davis pointed out, a couple $100,000 to set up a new nonprofit, where are they going to get the authority or the ability to move this program forward? And you don't have to explain today, but that's a question I think I need more clarification on how that person is going to tie in, because it's got to have some sort of county support in that, because to pull the existing grant writers and all the other things that was brought up together, you're talking about a nonprofit agency that's going to be working with the county. It's going to be kind of, there's a rub there, I can see. 'cause I want to see if you've thought it far, but that's my only question. And thanks for all the presentation, it was great.
No comment. Good presentation, fresh approach. Thank you.
And with that, we will adjourn the meeting and we will revisit this issue and others next meeting.